We'll dive right into it. It looks like we got everyone with us here. So welcome to another edition of Webinar Wednesday. Awesome to be with you guys here. If this is your first time joining, welcome. I'm Jason there on the left, and we're lucky to be joined by David Rockland, the digital strategist, and so much more here at
Unmuted.
David, thank you for taking the time to join us on the webinar.
Hey everybody, so glad to be back with you for a brand new webinar today. Got a great tip of the week, really highlighting some interesting kind of website analytics features that are built right into the platform. Not a whole lot of users know about, so really looking forward to diving into this one.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. And for those of you joining us on YouTube Live, thank you. Good to be with you guys here. I always like to mention, if you're not subscribed to the Brilliant Directories YouTube channel, you can go to brilliantdirectories.com/YouTube. It will direct you to our YouTube page and you can subscribe. It's a great way to listen to the webinar live streams on the go. The replays are there. We upload tutorial videos, tips of the week, and tons more. And what's good about the YouTube Live is immediately after the webinar, we will post the replay in the Facebook group. If you're not already joining us there, we invite you, brilliantdirectories.com/Facebook. I'm very active in there myself, lots of good discussions, lots of veteran BD users in there, lots of new users in there asking some good questions, getting their site set up. Whether you're setting up your site or looking for marketing strategies, that's a great place to ask questions and see what fellow BDers are doing to tackle those topics. So I do invite you to join us there, and we'll post the replay of this webinar in the Facebook group shortly after. And again, we do see a lot of new names and faces here. That's one of the fun parts about Webinar Wednesday. We're always inviting and seeing new names here. Just a little bit about it. Week after week, we're pushing new updates and features into the Brilliant Directories platform. Shout out to you guys. A lot of the new features are suggestions from you guys, or you guys identify ways we can improve the platform. So it really is a community effort. And in the webinars, we like to highlight some of the features that provide you with actionable steps to help grow your community. So we'll cover things on how to increase traffic, converting visitors into paying members or free members, identifying revenue opportunities. One of my favorites is improving and simplifying your website's navigation. So if you have questions on any of these topics or anything else about your membership site, please save them. We can help you with your website. We'll have a short Q&A after the tip of the week, and we'll try to get to as many questions as we can today. And with that, we'll segue quickly into the BD Lab updates. I'll just breeze through this list here because we have a really good tip of the week coming up. The first one at the top of the list, we did announce it in the previous webinar, and it mildly ties into the tip of the week, so I just wanted to mention it again. The new add-on, block traffic by country. This will allow you to restrict or allow access to your website from specific countries. I did want to mention something, not to aggressively use this. I would only recommend using this if you are noticing unwanted traffic or spam or signups from regions or areas that really are totally outside of your target market. Otherwise, I wouldn't utilize this setting and then just allow traffic freely flow in and out of your website. It is the World Wide Web for a reason, but today in the tip of the week, we'll see how this can be useful in identifying areas that you may want to block traffic from. Next one on this list, this is a new release, the ability to suppress signups from disposable email addresses. So if you're not familiar with what a disposable email address is, a lot of people utilize them to quickly sign up for newsletters and also for sites where they can gain listings and things like that. There's a ton of them out there, and usually it means that it's a third-party company. It's not the actual person. And the thing about disposable emails is after the initial sign up and they verify the email address, you can never email that address again. It kind of just goes away and disappears. And generally it's a sign of either unwanted signups or highly used by spammers and things like that. So there is a setting now. If you're not receiving unwanted traffic or signups to your site, you don't necessarily need to activate this. But if you just want to be proactive, I would recommend enabling this setting. Let me show you where it is in your admin area. If we head on over here, this is iLog Connect. We'll be using this site as a test site for the tip of the week. But if we head on over to the general settings and go to the integrations tab, we have our block spam keywords list. So any people trying to fill out forms on your site with any of these spam, these keywords in them, the form submission will be blocked and not allowed. We did something similar with homoglyphs, which are letters that look like the normal alphabet letters, but they are used by spammers to kind of spoof things. And here we have the disposable email addresses. So this is a list that we got from a third-party site. This is a known issue on the internet. And what this will do is you can check this box. You can also add to this comma-separated list. And there's about 3,000 of them here. And from time to time, we will update this list because these disposable email addresses, the domains of them, they change, they shift. They're coming from other websites. So we'll just update this list periodically. But if you enable this and someone tries to sign up using one of these disposable domains, it'll simply be rejected. If they sign up with a legitimate email address and later try to change the email address inside the member dashboard once they're logged in, it won't allow them to change it to the disposable email address. So if they're trying to find a way to verify the listing with one of these disposable email addresses, 99% chance they simply won't be able to do it. And this will help protect your site, again, from unwanted signups, spamming and things of that nature. So you can go to your general settings, integrations tab, and I would go ahead and check both of these. Again, if you're experiencing high volumes of unwanted signups or form submissions, this can help suppress that a bit. Next one here, also related to form submissions, but in a different capacity here. In the forms inbox of your admin area, you now have a reply to button, and it's going to include a copy of the original inquiry. Give me a second. Let me switch my focus site here to show you an example of what this looks like. And this is pretty useful because when you're replying to emails directly from the admin area, it's nice to have that context of what you're replying to. So here, let's go to the forms inbox section here. And I love the forms inbox because you can create a form for anything. It could be a survey, it could be an application, it could just be a message form. And what's nice is you'll see the full inquiry here when you click. And this was just a test we did a long time ago. So enter name, coupon subscriber. So this was the inquiry, deals and coupons. Now, if I wanted to reply to this person, there's a reply button, which we've had. But what's new here now is by default, you'll see the original inquiry here. So if you're writing a reply, you can use this as context. You can choose to leave this here if you want. If there's nothing sensitive going back to the recipient, you could certainly keep this here, or you can just delete it. Just delete the table and delete the original inquiry and just continue replying back to the user. But otherwise, it will show the original inquiry here, the details of what was submitted, so you'll have some context as you're replying back here. This next one is more for the web designers and web developers. Now in the member search results, there is a CSS class that you can target for when a member is a verified member. Again, this is more for the web designers and developers out there, but I'll show you quickly what we're referring to here. So when a member is a, quote, verified member on the site, they do have this badge on the search results page. Up until now, that's all that would designate them as verified. But let me just refresh this page. I'm going to show you guys a little code here, once again, more for the web designers and web developers here. So if you're using the default loop code for the search results page, guys, you now have this class added. It says a verified member result. And utilizing this, you can do things like this, adding an orange border or whatever, however you want to dress up the verified member results here for the ones who are verified. In this case, just a small example, we've added an orange border of 5 pixels here. So just a quick example here, but again, for the designers and developers out there, a lot easier to target the verified member results as long as you're using the default code, or you may want to just refresh your code to add this class and then target it as you see fit. All right, this next one down here is related to webhooks. If you're using webhooks, if you're familiar with them, it's an easy way to pass your BD data, your Brilliant Directories website data, member data to third-party solutions and other applications. It kind of exports data. Now we've included the member service areas as part of the webhooks when you're syncing your smart lists. So smart lists are a great way to send bulk member data out at a time. And now it will include these service areas. So if a member has selected additional locations that they service, it could be a state, a city, what have you, a postal code, that will be included in the smart list webhooks that go out. And lastly here, this is related to the Brilliant Directories blog. We've added a new dedicated section for revenue generating articles and tips that we have in there. I will share a link to that for you guys here. It's in the Brilliant Directories blog. You can go to brilliantdirectories.com/blog. And in the sidebar here, you'll see a new tab called Monetizing Membership Websites. These are just all the existing articles we had that cover anything related to monetizing or generating revenue for your membership sites. Some of them are for specific types of sites. Some of them are just for general membership monetizing strategies. So I'll just drop this link here. There's some fun reads in there. Some of them are videos and fun to watch as well from previous webinars we've done. Very excited about this updates. And with that, the tip of the week, built-in analytics for website traffic and trends. David, super excited about this topic. Glad that we chose this one for this week. If it's okay, I can pass things over to you. We can kind of go over the slides, and then we can do a deep dive into some of these analytics that are accessible for everyone through their BD admin portal.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is an exciting one. Google Analytics and other website analytic platforms, they're great tools to really get a good, complete understanding of the behavior of your website visitors, how you can optimize different areas and pages of your website to meet your specific goals. However, if you don't want to use one of those more dedicated platforms, I know they can be a little bit overwhelming with all the features. There are some built-in options and statistics that we can really take a look at and give us actually a really great understanding of kind of core website traffic, how visitors are behaving on our website, and also give us an insight into some possible optimizations that we might want to do to our website, all with this built-in tool. So this is accessible within your website's Developer Hub. If you go to Developer Hub, cPanel dashboard, there is a tool in there, AWStats, that we can open up that will give us a really simple but relatively comprehensive kind of snapshot of our website traffic statistics. So this is built in, it's accessible with all BD websites. It doesn't require you to paste any code into your website's header or footer or install any third-party tools. And it really provides all of the necessary traffic statistics that you would find with any other dedicated website traffic analytics platform. So you'll still be able to see how many visitors your website's getting, page views, hits, which is a little bit different statistic. Hits would be anytime a request that requires some bandwidth usage on your website is taking place. So anytime a web page is visited, an image is downloaded, a file's downloaded, things like that. Overall bandwidth usage, what time of day and day of the week you're seeing a lot of traffic on your website. Website referrers, so what search engines are sending the most traffic to your website, what other websites are sending traffic to your website, the geolocation of website visitors, so which countries the majority of your website visitors are coming from, what operating system and browser your visitors are using, entry and exit pages, so you can get a better understanding of what pages might be performing really well that your website visitors are typically coming to first, and then also which web pages tend to be potentially the worst performing, where you're seeing a high exit rate on, in addition to a lot of other really useful statistics, but those are kind of the main ones there. So this tool, it's really simple to use, and it really does provide us with a general comprehensive view of website traffic that we can kind of take some actionable steps on, find some places that we can optimize. So before we get into a walkthrough of what this actually looks like on an actual website with some traffic, just wanted to go through some of those notable primary statistics. There's a lot that is provided with this analytics tool, but just wanted to quickly run through kind of the core features that you'll probably want to pay the most attention to. So one of them is peak hours. So you'll be able to see what time of day and also what day of week your website is seeing a lot of website traffic. So if you have some limited time banner announcements, promotions that you'll be running that you want to coincide with the time of day or the day of the week that you're getting typically the most amount of traffic, you'll be able to see that. You'll also be able to identify how much traffic is coming from specific countries. So maybe you're seeing a big spike in traffic from a specific country that you're not necessarily targeting. Doesn't mean necessarily that you want to block all traffic from it immediately, but if you notice that that trend persists, you might want to block traffic from that country if it's not one that you're targeting and it's using a lot of bandwidth. That's another statistic we can see is we'll be able to identify the different sources of bandwidth usage. So we can potentially see some outliers, maybe some things that we might want to be able to optimize. Also hosts. So this would be instead of countries where a lot of traffic is coming from, individual IP addresses that are using a lot of bandwidth. So oftentimes, these hosts might be robots that are using the most bandwidth, not necessarily individual users. But again, you could always geolocate an IP address to get the location of an IP address. And if the IP address is located outside of one of your target countries, again, that might be a case where you might want to block that individual IP address. But again, you do want to be a little bit careful with that. You don't necessarily want to block IP addresses of like search engine servers and things like that, because we do still want search engines to be able to scrape our websites, assuming we want to be listed in search engines. And then also going into robots, actually being able to identify high activity bots. And if we notice some robots that we're not familiar with, that we don't want being on our website, scraping our website, can go ahead and edit the robots.txt file if necessary. It's a little bit more advanced, but just another useful statistic there. File types can actually see the top file formats that are consuming the most bandwidth. So if you have a lot of ebooks, PDFs, things like that uploaded to your website that you're providing to your members, be able to actually see which ones have been downloaded the most. That goes right on into download, seeing which specific files are the most frequently downloaded by visitors. Pages, seeing which specific web pages are most viewed by visitors. You can also see the entry and exit points. So which pages tend to be the most common ones that visitors are coming to first. That probably means there's another website or a search engine that's directing traffic to that specific page. And also those exit pages. So which pages have high bounce rates? Maybe there's some things on those pages that we'll be able to optimize so that users stay on our website a little bit longer, go to some other web pages. Also be able to see the most common operating systems and web browsers that our visitors are using. So, if we happen to see, maybe we're putting a lot of resources into trying to optimize custom web pages for mobile devices. And if we're seeing maybe only 2, 3, 4% of website visitors are actually viewing those pages on mobile devices, maybe we don't need to spend as much time optimizing those pages for mobile, and we can use that time and other resources in some better ways. And then also refers, seeing which search engines and individual websites are directing the most traffic to our website. So this might be good to determine for search engines, maybe which search engines we want to contribute more funds to if we're going to be doing some PPC ad campaigns, or looking at the individual websites that are directing traffic to us. Maybe we'll want to reach out to the owners of those other websites, see if there's some mutually beneficial arrangement that we might be able to work on so that they can direct even more traffic to us, we can direct traffic to them, things like that. So there's a lot of really great information that's provided in this tool here. And we'll dive into kind of showing that in practice and how it actually looks with some website traffic data.
Yeah, thank you for putting this list together, David. I think a lot of this is going to come down to seeing the bandwidth usage of a site. Bandwidth is the resource that's most critical to websites. So let's dive in and let's show you exactly where you can access this analytics and this data inside your BD admin area. And we'll use the iLog Connect, this sample site here, just as kind of our guinea pig to look at some of the data. So we went from the dashboard, we went into the Developer Hub section, and we're going to trek into the cPanel dashboard here. So let's go there together. And when we're here, if you're not familiar with the cPanel dashboard, it is for more higher level domain management and things like that, email account management. And it's super useful. It actually unlocks a wealth of functionality and resources. In this case, we're going to use the search tool here. We're going to search for AWStats. And it's the top one here. And we'll go ahead and click on that. And then just find your domain name. If you have an SSL with your domain name, go ahead and click on the SSL version and click on View. So now we are in the stats section. So again, it's not the prettiest thing. It's a little crude. It's super basic. It's not a fancy Google Analytics with all these charts and graphs and things like that, which I'm a huge fan of Google Analytics. But the fact that we don't have to set up anything third party or other solutions, and this is just happening behind the scenes and we have this data, it's super valuable, especially if you just want to do a quick check-in and you're already in your admin area. With just a couple clicks, you can get familiar with how to get to this section. So there's a lot here, but we'll breeze through it. But just at the top here, you can search for monthly, daily, or hourly historical data based on the month and the year and so on. So as long as your site's been online, the data should exist for it. And just at the top here, so we're looking for at the entire month of February in this example. So, and again, these numbers are based on the server's tracking, the cPanel tracking. So it might differ if you're using third-party tools like Google Analytics or Hotjar or something else. The numbers aren't exactly matching, but this will give you a rough estimate of some of the behavior and activity that's happening on your site. So just at the top here, we can see the site's received about 4,000 unique visitors. Those are specific unique visitors. Number of visits, that could be the same unique visitor visiting multiple times. So you can see here the average visit is about 9 times per visitor. The number of pages that were viewed, number of hits. So hits is not just a page view, it's also when an image resource is requested, a file is downloaded, anything that's accessing an asset on your site, like an image, a file, or the page itself. And then total bandwidth usage. Now, what we're gonna see in this example, we're gonna see some countries that are utilizing a lot of bandwidth and traffic usage. And although that may seem alarming, if it's not pushing you over your monthly bandwidth limit, there's really no reason for alarm. Again, it's the World Wide Web. We can allow that traffic to move in and out freely from our site, especially if we're not seeing any spam or unwanted signups occurring as well. There really isn't any problem with other countries accessing our sites. But when we come here, we could scroll down and we have a month-by-month analysis here. This is for the year 2024. So again, you can compare your growth month over month, visitors, bandwidth usage, and you can see hopefully you're having some steady growth. And if you're not, maybe you want to focus more on search engine optimization, social media marketing, etc. And over here in the next section, you'll see the days of the month. So this is February 1st, and in this case, all the way through February 28th, which isn't done here. So we can see peak bandwidth usage happened on a couple of these days. This green marker here, bandwidth was 631. And over here on February 9th, bandwidth was 708. And it looks like there were a lot of hits on those days as well compared to the rest of the month. So we'll be able to see what may have contributed to those high bandwidth usage. Maybe it was like a Google bot or Microsoft Bing bot scraping the site so they can index some of the pages for their search results. Maybe it was an offender or some nefarious activity that we want to identify. So we're going to see how we can analyze that using the data here. And then what David was referring to, and I'll try to get these two in the same one, the day of the week and the hours. So basically we can see when our peak visitor times are. So in this case, we see Fridays are quite busy on this website compared to other days of the week. And sometimes there might be no variation. It might just be steady throughout. And then hours of the day. So 0 is basically midnight all the way through 11 p.m. So you can utilize this and you might see waves of peak times of traffic. And as David was mentioning, maybe depending on the day of the week. So maybe Fridays at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, that's when you put a special banner on your site for a limited time promotion that you want to run. So that's just one use case and one way you can utilize the time when it comes to peak hours of visitors on your site. And here is a very important part that we were talking about. So this is the locales. This is the visits by country. And we can see here that China is the #1 visitor of this site for February, and we see that it utilized 2.63 gigabytes of bandwidth for the month of February. This is generally a US-based website. We'll go to the homepage here for iLaw Connect. It's a site to find lawyers, mainly based in the United States and I think a little bit in Canada. So China was doing something there. Maybe there was a blog post shared from the website. Maybe they were scraping it. Maybe they were doing something. Maybe they were spidering it. But we can see that they used it there. Now, if you were on the cusp of your monthly bandwidth limit and China is 100% not a target market that you're catering to, this would be a good time to maybe block that country's access. It's not necessary for Google indexing or Bing indexing. It's not where the majority of your members are or users are, and it's not where your visitors are coming to your site, mainly to use your site to find the lawyer. So in this case, this would be a good example when you have the block traffic by country add-on to go to your general settings, go to localization, and block traffic by country, block traffic. And in this case, we want to block China because we see that they're really utilizing a lot of bandwidth. And again, if we were close to our limits and we're looking to ration our bandwidth, this would be a good first step and initiative to take to block that traffic from the unwanted countries. When we come down lower, we do see India and the Philippines. We see things in the megabytes, not the gigabytes. This is really nominal and not that big of a deal when you're seeing things in megabytes. So this is a great place to see where your traffic is coming from, and also that can help you in your marketing as well. You can find out what your number 2 markets are, number 3 markets, and start catering to them a bit more as well. And here are the IP addresses. It says host. It means basically the IP address of the visitor to your site. And we see a huge outlier here. We see one IP address utilized 1.26 gigabytes of bandwidth specifically on February 9th. And if we come here and actually do a quick search, let's see, IP geolocator, we can see that the stars align, and with just a little bit of due diligence, let's just do a quick search for this IP where it's located. So this is in China. So there was some China activity from this IP address. So another thing we can do with this data, again, let's say we don't want that traffic there, we don't know who they are, we don't need them. We can block that IP address from our site. So actually just a quick way for me to do this, I go to search members, and there's always a red button here to block IP. I'll click on that, and this actually takes us to another section in cPanel. It says IP blocker. Just go ahead and paste that IP. I've already done it for this site, and it says that we've blocked traffic from this IP. Now, the thing is, it only happened one day, this IP address. Let's actually do a search on the page. Yeah, it was just this one day, so it was maybe spidering the site or trying to index the site on that day. But again, we can now take action and block that IP. Everything else seems pretty normal. Again, we're in the megabytes here, not the gigabytes, which is normal for normal visitor traffic. The next part here are the robots. So the robots or spiders, those are the search engines and tools that want to scour every page of your site. So Google can add it into Google search results, Bing search results. Maybe you're using an SEO tool and they want to analyze every page of your site for SEO optimization. What we want to make sure is these bots utilize your bandwidth. They do so very efficiently because they're doing this en masse at scale on your site. So what we see here is we can see the Apple bot, Bing bot, Google bot. These are all normal, and we can see they all utilized about the average amount of bandwidth for the entire month, about 300 to 400. There are 3 different Google bots here. If you add them together, I believe you're in the 300 range. So everything looks normal here. We did have a client, and they were hitting their bandwidth limits, very quickly early in the months. And what happened is they had allowed rogue spiders and bots to crawl their website. So you got all these random spiders and bots indexing all the pages of their website, basically running the bill up on their bandwidth. So what we quickly found out, and again, this is good too, as David was talking about the robots. So back in the developer hub, there is a section called robots file. Basically what this does is you're granting access to specific spiders that crawl your site, like Google is a safe spider, Microsoft Bing is a safe spider that index your site for search engines and things like that. Twitter is a safe spider. So we have defaults here. If you never have been to this area before or never touched it, but you're seeing in your stats some bots that are really running up the bandwidth, the easiest thing to do is, if you've never edited this before, you don't know why it's happening, just click on Restore Default, and it's going to restore the BD defaults back to just the safe bots that are used by the common search engines like Google, Bing, Yahoo, etc. And if you are using third-party tools like SEMrush or Ahrefs or other tools that you want to allow them to spider your site because you want them to visit all your pages to do an SEO analysis, this is when you add them to the allow list here. So they'll usually give you instructions. The user agent would be like SEMrush or whatever the word is, and you would add them to the allow list on your site, but it will block every other rogue spider trying to waste your bandwidth. So this is a pretty important one. That's why I spent a little more time on it. And if we can identify this, you can pretty much nip it in the bud. Sometimes the things that are running up the bandwidth the most, which are these spiders or bots. A little lower down here, we can see this is actual visitor behavior, visits duration, how much time a visitor spent on your site. So most times visitors are coming and going. I'm not sure if this calculates the spider bot traffic because they're going page by page very quickly. So you may want to even just ignore the 0 to 30 seconds one and then look at the 30 seconds to the minutes one, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. If we can get people to stay on our site for 30 seconds to 2 minutes, that's actually a pretty strong win. So you might want to focus on this number. And if you're not there, you might want to look at your pages and make sure that they're grabbing the attention of the visitors. The next one here, also we had another user, and this shows you the file types that are utilizing the most bandwidth. So we can see here PNG images. I'm not sure what this unknown one is, but this PNG images here is about 147 megabytes. That looks good. We did have a client, they had a huge image on their hero homepage. It was about 6 megabytes in size when it should be, just a few kilobytes, about 95% smaller, which means every time a visitor was coming to their homepage, that 6 megabyte image was utilizing their bandwidth. Whether you're on a smartphone or a desktop computer, it was 6 megabytes for every new visitor coming to their homepage. And what we found out was once we optimized that homepage image and made it a more normal size, that solved their bandwidth issues. So it was just one image on the homepage that was really hemorrhaging the bandwidth usage, and we were able to solve that. Another thing here, which is really fun, are the downloads. So if you have ebooks that you're offering on your site, sometimes we allow our members to upload PDFs, their resumes, the menus for restaurants, things like that on their profiles. We can see the top downloaded files on the website here. So again, if you have ebooks or other downloadable assets, we can get a quick snapshot of the hits and the bandwidth that was used for that. So I think the hits would be the actual downloads for those resources here. So you can see how popular some of your downloads may be. Next one here, this is probably the marquee piece of analytics that we want, are the top pages visited on our website. So of course, the top one is just the /, that would be the home page. The number 2 page on this site is the join page. We do see some rogue pages here. These are some kind of like internal pages running in the background to keep BD site operating. We can see even though they are the top pages, they barely use any, they barely have no size to them, average size like 1 kilobyte, 45 bytes. So these are super small file sizes, but this is a great way to see the popular pages on your site. And what I really liked about this is if we click on full list here, I'm going to open this in a new tab, there are actually filters here. So I can search for articles as an example, and it shows me all the top URLs with the word articles in it. So these are the blog articles on the site. So the articles is the search results page on the site. We'll just go there real quick together. And so this site has a handful of blog articles. But we see the number 2 article on the site is this one. It says Austin Web Design. What are the 3 types of solar panels? Unlocking opportunities, PCD farmers. So they're actually getting probably some unwanted signups on this site. But we can see here the top pieces of content based on, for example, the articles here. So you can type in certain keywords here or things that would be part of a URL structure and get a gauge on the views and entries and exits, as David was showing you here as well. Let's go back here. We can see the home page. It has the most entries and the most exits. So maybe they can work on funneling people to internal pages of the site to reduce that bounce rate. And then it goes on from there. So some useful stats here about the page URLs on your site. Again, just a quick snapshot is what you're getting, and I think it's super powerful there. Next one here, we'll do these ones together, the operating system and the browsers. Now, this may not seem too valuable, but based on the operating system, you might know a little bit about your visitor market. So I think Apple users are like a special demographic compared to Windows users. And so on. It might not make a big difference, but also what we see here are Android smartphones as well as iOS iPhones here. So we do have a distinction between desktops and smartphones here. We can see the traffic on the site is predominantly desktops, Macintosh or Apple computers, as well as Windows desktop computers. And then down here towards the bottom, we do see Android and iOS. So actually, there are not many mobile users visiting this site. Just based on this, it's showing us that desktops are the majority users. But if you are noticing that the majority of your traffic is coming from mobile, although the sites are already optimized for mobile as far as like expanding and shrinking and moving elements around, what we can be more conscious about are our calls to action, our buttons and links. If we're on mobile, we want those to be higher up on the page so people don't have to scroll so much on their small smartphone screens to get to those calls to action. It's right there in the top fold, as we call it, in the hero section. So just be mindful of that. If you do have a lot of mobile users, we may want to push our calls to action higher up on the page as opposed to at the bottom at the end of the page, especially on your join pages. One thing I've seen, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, but on join pages, sometimes we top load it with a bunch of content, trying to resell them on joining the site. But always make sure to have at least among all that top fold content that you might have, which is informative literature, have one button that gives them an off ramp to just go ahead and join right away. Don't always put it way, way, way at the bottom of the page. Depending on your strategy, having it at the bottom might work well. A lot of funnel pages work like that. They just sell you, sell you, sell you, and then at the bottom, it's that big yellow or red sign up button. However, in my opinion, having one off ramp to just click and join at the very top will probably increase your conversion rates. And you can have multiple buttons at different parts of a page. So just be mindful of that when you're designing your site, of the mobile traffic that's coming to your site. And then here, of course, we could see the browser. In this case, Google Chrome is the top browser. But again, if we see Safari, if we see we have a lot of Apple users, we might want to cater our marketing more for that Apple demographic. It is a certain type of person. So just some things to consider there. And then lastly are the referring sites that are pointing to your site or where traffic is coming to, are connecting to your site from. So at the top of the list here, you will see some search engines. So we see Baidu is here, and Baidu is actually like the Chinese Google, I believe. So that's probably why we saw a scrape or a spider from China at one time. Maybe Baidu wanted to index the site. And although they're not on the robots.txt, there are ways around that to spoof a user agent or whatever they might be doing. So it's not always 100%. But the robots.txt will prevent the majority of unwanted spiders from coming to your site. So this actually makes sense now. Baidu wanted to spider the site. That's why we saw the China. So we may choose not to block China. Again, this site is not reaching its bandwidth limits. So we may just want to keep it open. We don't really need to ration at this point. We can just allow traffic to flow in and out freely. And then down here, we see actual websites, not necessarily search engines, that are bringing or referring traffic to this website, iLaw Connect. So we see a few here. And as David was mentioning, we might see some sites where we might have some synergy. Maybe someone's pointing to our blog post and it's a complementary site, and we may want to do more link exchanges with them or open up a dialogue. So just some more data here to consider. And I think I'm gonna stay on this page here. Feel free to raise your hand. What we'll do, as I always like to do, is we'll move on over to the Q&A. We'll talk about this in a second, but if you have questions about what we just covered, any of the specific analytics, feel free to raise your hand. We can look at it in more detail. And while you're doing that, just wanted to mention, this is built into every Brilliant Directory site. As long as you have that Developer Hub access, you will have access to that cPanel, AWStats, and you can see this data for your site. However, there are more robust, prettier, more granular analytic tools out there. The most common one is Google Analytics. It's 100% free. I'm a huge fan. I've used it for years and years and years. And since Google Analytics, there have been more paid options on the market too. Hotjar, Matomo, SEMrush, there's tons more out there. Basically, even Google Analytics or the paid ones, they're going to give you more comprehensive insights into visitor behavior and page visits. Some might provide real-time reporting. I know Hotjar shows you exactly where people's mouses are moving. That's why it's more of a paid service than just Google Analytics, which is somewhat helpful, especially if you're trying to maximize conversion rates on a squeeze page or funnel page. And then, of course, you have more granular data. You can do date comparisons to see how one week performed better than another week. You can actually search for specific page URLs and more. And then, of course, if you have a larger website for scalability, these third-party tools are much more robust and will give you the complex analytics you need to do reporting, share it with your team, and more. So you probably are using Google Analytics. If not, I'd highly recommend it. But again, what's built into BD is a great snapshot, a quick look at what's happening on your site. So with that, we'll move on to the Q&A. I do see some hands flying up here. Let me see. We got Bill here. Billy, excuse me. Let me unmute your microphone. How you doing, Billy?
Hey, good. Thank you. I have two questions. First one is, can you show a graph year over year in the back-end analytics?
I'm not sure it does date comparisons. That was that's one thing I mentioned here, the date comparisons with these third-party tools. But let's see. I think you're limited to monthly, daily, and hourly. If you go to 2023, let's just look January 2023 here by the month. Let me just quickly come here. So yeah. we do have this, so you can see all of 2023, and then you can quickly switch back over to 2024, or you can open it in another tab. Let me duplicate the tab. And again, we're just winging it here. So you can go to 2024 and you got your two tabs open so you can kind of compare traffic that way.
Got it. Okay, that's cool. The second part of my question is, and again, maybe I could submit this to support, but under the page URL visits, I've got this weird, I guess, string that's above the actual homepage, and it's taken up like 11,000 visits for that just for February. Is this something I should reach out to support, or can you guys look at it and maybe tell me what it is?
Yeah, let's take a look at it together, actually. Do you mind sharing your site?
No, not at all. It's uppercervicalcare.com.
All right, let's take a look at it together. And let's go to the AWStats, another opportunity of how to get there. We'll go to Developer Hub, cPanel Dashboard. And I think there's two ways to get there. You can type in AWStats up here in the right, or you can scroll down, and it's right here. There's a link, metrics. And then so we want to just...
Yeah, the SSL.
Right.
And if you go to the page views, page URL visits.
Right here.
And yeah, you do the full list. Yeah, that's it. But that's such a weird thing. So I'm not even sure what that is. When you click on it, you'll see the error message that comes up.
So I know what this is. So what this is, it says post user clicks.
Yeah.
This is a URL that when your site's being, for the profile statistics add-on, what it's doing, it's submitting an event for a post view. So it's basically just something that we see the size here. Let me go a little slower. So we see the size here is just 392 bytes.
Got it.
I'm noticing here, this is what I was saying. Sometimes you might see obscure things here like this Ajax get services. These are just pings that are happening to maybe track certain events that are happening on your website. In this case, this is the member profile analytics add-on, and it's tracking user clicks from their profile, the post views, things like that.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much. And just one thing, the support that I get from your team is tremendous when I open up a ticket. So thank you very much.
Appreciate that a lot. Thank you so much for mentioning that. All right, good stuff there. Yeah, again, sometimes you'll see obscure links here. Especially you'll see like widget or API in it. What these are just like small background functions, and usually they're just tracking activity on the site, so it can provide you with reporting somewhere in your admin area, or it just needs that data to operate. So I wouldn't necessarily think that there's anything wrong here. I could see how it could be a little alarming, but it's perfectly normal to see things like this sometimes. All right, good question there, Bill. All right, we got Felipe here. Just got to unmute your mic, Felipe. How you doing?
Can you hear me?
Yes, how you doing? Where are you calling in from?
Hi, I'm in Chicago.
All right, thanks for joining the webinar.
Yeah, thanks. I've been at a couple, and after today's, I'm like, I'm never missing another webinar again. This is great stuff.
Okay, great.
I have a couple of questions. So my unique visitors on that cPanel AWStats, the unique visitors is way higher than I have on GA4. Is that because you guys are counting the bots on this one, or?
I think two things. That's where I think this is like more raw data. I think it's unfettered in a way, as I'd like to say. I think it's counting, like, you're the owner of the site. It might be like recounting every time you visit the site. It may also be counting the bots visiting the site. I'm not 100% sure on that. That's why I just like to look at this as a snapshot. But there's going to be inconsistencies between like a third-party tool like Google Analytics and what you're seeing here. How much is the discrepancy that you're seeing?
Yeah. Okay. Alrighty. Yeah, because I saw on links from external page, it had some info about manage my directory, and I think, and that's me. And so I was thinking maybe that might be kind of the reason. So links from external page, I have www.managemydirectory.com, and that's my number one. And I think that's because that's me.
Right. Let me actually show you one thing here. Give me a moment. So what happens is in Manage My Directory, when we go to search members, for example, so this is we're on Manage My Directory, we're the admin of your site. But when we right click on an image, this image is for the website. You see, that's the name of the website, the webinar 3.5 directory up. So Manage My Directory is requesting this. That's the hit, right? We talked about hits before. That's a hit for this image, but it's coming from Manage My Directory. So your Manage My Directory is also, quote unquote, utilizing the AWStats traffic, or it's being included in that, where it may not be included with the Google Analytics, because your Google Analytics code is not here in the admin area. So there's going to be some inconsistencies between what you see in Google Analytics and kind of what you see in the AWStats.
Yeah. Okay. Alrighty. And then my last question is, I was on the last webinar, and I'm super interested in the ability to add additional businesses. And I have a little post-it note on my computer here that says, access millions of business records, add listings to your site. And so I don't know if that's available yet, if that's coming, and if it is available, how I can.
It's coming soon. What we're doing right now is we are trying to, there's like some data suppliers out there. We're trying to negotiate the best rates, because data has a cost to it. So we're trying to do this at scale, and being able to offer it to BD users. Realistically, now that we're at the end of February, I would hope for an end of March release on that. There's a few priority items we have ahead of that new functionality. I'm super excited about it. It's going to change the game for how you can spin and set up sites real quick. It's been green lighted. Let's be hopeful for end of March release on that. If not, then for sure in April we would prioritize it. So just a little bit down the ways there.
Okay. Yeah. No rush. Love that feature. That's great. And then my last thing, I don't want to monopolize all the time, but I just signed up for Hubspot today. I signed up for Sales Hub. So there's something very specific we're doing with outreach. But one of the things my sales rep at Hubspot said is integrating my site, with Hubspot. I'm not quite there yet, but I don't know if there's resources or things that you have, and if you integrate with Hubspot, if there's a way of getting kind of up to speed on that. I'm not quite there yet. But.
So no, that's a really good question. Actually, I think everyone can benefit from it. So you're going to use HubSpot as a CRM. So you want to put your member contact information in there. Is that the idea?
Yeah. So what we're doing is we're doing some outreach, and we just want to know. There might be some folks that are. So here's our model. The way it works is we're called findsafetytrainers.com, and so there are safety professionals that set up their profile on our site. and then we're driving traffic from buyers of safety services. We're reaching out to federal contract winners that have won contracts for infrastructure projects like building roads, building airports. And so those are folks that are not on our site, and we want them to be able to, they're the buyers, and so we want to drive them to our site. We also want to get individual contracts with them. And so through HubSpot, we're going to be doing sequences, and we want them, there's calls to action to, book some time with us, schedule a call, but they're not registered on our site. And so some of them might not, register or schedule a meeting, might not reply to our email, but they might go to our site. And if they do, we see that as a positive action. Just wondering how to do that. And I'm just beginning to scratch the surface on that. I'm not anywhere near, getting deep into that. I literally just signed up for HubSpot today.
Gotcha.
But it will be something over the course of the next few months that I definitely want to do, because these are not folks that are signed up on our site. They are looking for people on our site, and we want to know if there's a positive action or not.
Gotcha. So there's a few ways to do it. Tools like Zapier, Pabbly, Integrately, they basically allow you to sync data between two different platforms, whether you're passing BD data to HubSpot or HubSpot data to BD. Basically, their convenience is it's no code required. It's just point and click, and you can set up the workflows going to move the data back and forth. They do have costs attributed to them. In my opinion, they're relatively low cost. It's part of helping your business expand and grow, and it's saving you time and the expense of maybe having to hire a third-party developer or paying for a more robust development. It's definitely worth its weight in gold in that case. I'll just share this link here, and if you check our blog for like integrations, Zapier, HubSpot, things like that, you might find some videos on how those things can be accomplished. But I'll just drop this here in the chat for you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Good questions. Thank you very much. All right. We got a good friend, Michael, here. I'm going to unmute your microphone, Michael.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you loud and clear, Michael. Thank you.
Okay, great. So I just had a couple of questions when you're going through by the way, it's Mike from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. And I agree with the last person that was talking about your support. I'd like to thank them very much as well.
Thank you very much.
So the two questions I have, one is, I noticed when you were talking about the peak hours, I thought, well, what time zone is that coming from? So I'm going to assume it's the one time zone that you've set your website to?
I believe so, yeah. When in the general settings, wherever you've pinned your time zone to, that should be what the stats are referring to. So under localization, website time zone here.
And the second question was sort of in the same area, but you were talking about seeing the locale, where things were happening by country. Is there a way that you can see locale by state or province rather than country? Because really my directory is going to be focusing on one country.
Gotcha. From what I can see here, it's just providing data from the country. I know Google Analytics, I think GA4 now can get more granular based on the province or the state. So you might want to use Google Analytics for that, and you could get more granular data about the geographical location of the visitors.
Sounds fantastic. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Good question there. Thank you. All right. Yeah, good friend Michael from Ottawa. All right, we got some more hands up here. We got Roger Peck. Roger, and then I'll get you, Wilf, right after Roger.
Can you hear me now?
Loud and clear. Thank you so much. How are you today?
Great. Yeah, fine. I'm Roger from Superior, and I was on your meeting last time, and you dazzled me with your knowledge of these forms. So I just put in a link for you, if you can see that in the chat.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, that's where I'm going. I'm using that feature, the digital download feature, to try to build a form that allows people to register for a vendor fair, and I will be having several buttons. I just have one in there for now, just as a sample at the bottom, a 10 by 10 space that they can use at the fair for $100. So am I doing this the correct way? That's a big question. Is this the way that should be done? Is just build a standard form, and then when it says save to continue, have them go down below and then choose which size space they need and then pay for it there?
So there's two two things you can do, and this is a really cool utilization of what you're doing. Let me go to your site and show you a couple options you have for this.
Okay.
Give me one moment here. So you've created this form here, the vendor fair registration, and then you want them to fill out this form and then go here to pay for this is the information you need to fulfill their order, and then this is where they pay. What I would recommend doing is creating a digital product. So let's go to post publishing and adding the website digital product. So what I've done is I've created an admin only membership plan, and you're going to just add one member to that, which is going to be you, the website owner. It's a non-searchable listing. Let's actually do that. Search visibilities, no, and that should be fine. I'll go ahead and save this.
Okay.
So free. Okay, that's fine.
And I liked what you suggested, because I asked that question when I was setting this up. If they said, what if he wants a 10 by 10 and a 20 by 20? And I said, I have no idea how I would do that.
So, okay. Again, I'm just trying to do this a little expeditiously here. So what we're going to do is add a new member, and we're going to assign them to this new admin only membership plan. We'll just do jj@jj.com. We'll just put a password in here, and we'll go ahead and add the new member. So what you're going to do is create a digital product, and your digital product can be called something like, we'll just call it one of your vendor 20 by 20 150. So we'll come here, digital product. You can add an image with it, new digital product, and we'll hit publish. Product name, price is 150, and so on. You can add a description and all that stuff and images later.
Sure.
So now that we have this digital product, we'll just go back and look at the detail page now. So view post. So this is what I was trying to get at. So now that this digital product exists, you have two choices. You can, when they're filling out this vendor form here, vendor registration form, let me go back to the form manager, the vendor fair application.
Yeah, go ahead and just set that. That would be great.
So when you go to edit form settings, there's the first tab here is submission settings. So you can display an alert and tell them to now click the green button and pay below. That would be fine. It would take them to the digital product page. Or what we can do is redirect them to another page, and we can redirect them to the digital product page. And on that page, you can decorate it with the instructions saying, thanks for your information, to lock in your spot, complete your payment below. So everything on that digital product page, assume that they're already on like a step 2. You can even call it step 2, complete payment for XYZ. Just get really clever with the titling and just get them to click that button to complete it. The other way is vice versa, is you can have them purchase the digital product first, and after a successful payment, you can redirect them to a page, and you can say step 2, now provide your business information. So you collect the payment up front, and then on the thank you page, the quote unquote thank you page, it's really this form for them to really complete the application process.
That would be ideal. Yeah.
So my point is, there was a long-winded way to say it. The point is, either have them fill out this form first and redirect them to the digital product page where they complete their payment, or funnel people to the digital product page so they choose what they want, really make it seem like something special so they want to pay for it. And then on the next page, in the thank you page, that's where the form is. You say, thank you for your purchase, you've secured your spot, fill in this form to complete the process. And so basically that's how you're doing it.
Okay, so when I create that digital product, I can add the other pricings to it, like the 20 by 20, and so they can select more than one, correct?
Exactly. What I would recommend doing in that case is this. You can create maybe 3 or 4 different digital products, and what you can do is, I'll just take the same title here. What you can do is do this and link it to the next corresponding digital product page. So you'll have 3 or 4 digital products for the different ones you're offering. Insert it and turn it into a button, and you can just title it, like additional. So you basically, in the description, you put the other options that they can toggle between. So it's a little bit of just a little bit of setup work. But this way you can offer, like, you can say upgrade or change to a different, you can have your different offerings here and just copy the same thing for all the different digital products or the table sizes you're having or booth sizes. And that way you just have the same description in all of them so someone can toggle and then land on the one that they want to purchase. But each one is its own digital product, but in the description we'll have the links that link to the other digital products so people can kind of go back. They can toggle to the one that they want. Yeah, that's like the quickest way to do it. Obviously you can add some supportive text and a pretty title here. Maybe do it with a table and put like, put the button here and so on and so forth.
Okay, but they can go ahead and purchase two in the same time. Then they can get a 10 by 20 and a 20 by 20 and a 10 by 10 within the same purchase, or do they have to go back?
They would have to go back. So what you, because there isn't a shopping cart functionality. So what you, again, we're just trying to work with what exists in the platform. On the thank you page, you can have the form, have them fill it out, and then also have the add another booth to your order. So they've already paid for the first one. Just kind of turn it into like a circular thing. So even after they pay, you immediately provide them with more options to add another booth right there.
Okay, got it.
So again, it's not a shopping cart, but that's the short side of it, but we can keep them going in a circular motion with this.
Okay, great. And I took up enough time, so I'll save my other questions till the next time we meet. So
okay, thank you, Roger.
Appreciate it.
All right, good stuff there, Roger. Thank you for bearing with us, guys. That was a little bit of a deep explanation, but I thought it was important there. All right, Wilf, we got you unmuted here. How you doing, Wilf?
Hey, Jason, I'm just great. And I wanted to echo the comments of the other callers about your support staff, just outstanding.
Hey, we got to have a BD party at some point. We'll look into a conference or something in the future. Thank you so much for those kind words.
Okay, now before I ask my question, I should make sure it doesn't have to be centered on analytics, does it?
No, anything you want.
Well, I didn't want to digress too much from the conversation. Okay, so setting up a new site, and I'd like to take advantage of the lead capture theme. So that's what I'm using presently. So my question is kind of two parts. And number one, do you have any recommendations or best practices that I should keep in mind in terms of how I manage quote requests, in terms of disseminating them to my members? And then the second part of my question, I'd like to ask you to put on your marketing hat. And if you were selling to prospective members about the merits of joining your site to, for the benefit of potentially getting these quote requests, how would you position it?
You know what? I'm so happy you asked that question. Someone was asking for a video in the Facebook group, it was a generic white label video on like why members should join a directory site. Let me pause my screen for a second. What I had to do is I had to use the Wayback Machine tool, and we went to one of our original websites, Interior Design Pro, and exactly what I landed on the page that explained to members of why they should trust our site for leads. And I actually, let me share my screen now. I just opened it. This site is no longer online. So this is Interior Design Pro. It was a directory of interior designers, and what we would do is we would create leads and sell them to the designers, but we had to create their trust and all this stuff. So we had a section, we had a little menu bar here about, let me go here to tour. This is where it really starts. Just bear with me here. But what we talked on here, I'm like, this works so well for us. Like, we were selling out leads, designers were signing up, they wanted access to the leads. Basically how Thumbtack and these like neighborhood apps work right now for local service providers, whatever niche you're into. Really the point of the directory is they want visibility and they want access to leads that the website is generating for them. So number one is you really want to have a dedicated section that explains to them that you're in the business of getting them business with regards to leads. Now, this is not the consumer-facing side of the site. The consumer side of the site, let me open it, was consumer-facing. It's welcome to the site, find a designer for your project, or request a quote from a designer. So again, this is like circa 2010. So this site, what you're looking at is using, what is this, 2012, excuse me. It's about 12 years old here, but everything was geared towards finding a designer. But when the designers see this, they know that the site is about finding designers and they want to be found. Another thing we did is highlight, you're not seeing all the pictures here because it's using Wave. We would really highlight specific members on the site.
Mhm.
And then we'd have sections like, are you a design professional, create a listing, or learn more. My point to your leads, I'm going to get to it, and I'm going to share this link with you as well.
Amazing, thank you.
So we created this quote unquote tour page, like we're advertising featured listings, we'd keep them on the homepage for a couple months or something like that. Get more clients with Interior Design Pro. We really hammered home that we're here to get them leads, and we did get them leads. We had a How It Works page and the project referrals. That's what you're referring. So we said become a member, create your listing, get found online. Very simple. Let's go to project referrals. And here we have like again, 12 years old, but verified project referrals. Every lead we got, we would call them and make sure that the phone number and the email address was correct. We try to extract more information about the project, and that way we would have more confidence in selling the leads to the interior designers. And there was a trust factor there. Another thing is sometimes the leads were bad, or maybe they changed their mind all of a sudden and they pretended they didn't know, that they said they never did anything. So the designers paid for the leads. We made the refund or credit policy really lenient, so they didn't feel like they were, they got taken advantage of or anything, the designers who bought the lead. I'm going to share this link with you in the chat. And basically what we want to do is, the goal is for, if you're going to try to gain the trust of the professionals to join your site, is you want to let them know that you're in the business of getting them business. And two, have a page like this, why it works. I'm going to share this one, why it works. And it's basically like the FAQ about your lead program. Let's see, we had a page on like, what if I get a bad lead and things like that. Also, so we talk about what we do the work for you, credibility, cost effective, and so on. Let me find something from our blog as well. I hope this is helpful, what I'm sharing here.
It's extremely helpful, and I'm just wondering, I know this is I know we're limited for time, and I know this is an extremely broad question. What are your thoughts on the lead capture theme?
What I would I actually am not a huge fan of the form right on the homepage. It does work in some cases, but there has to be a lot of intent from the user to want to fill out that form right away. What I prefer, what I prefer is something more like, let me go to kellybluebook.com real quick.
This is
yes.
Great, thank you.
What I like are the buttons on the homepage. Is like having the button there, like get a quote, from, or, appraise my car, something where it's an easy initial click for them. And then we bring them into the process. So you click on my car's value, now the form begins, right? So, and you could have all these like confidence boosters around there. You're just 2 clicks away from, connecting with getting quotes or connecting with professionals and things like that. So I'm a bigger fan of the buttons on the homepage.
Definitely.
Let's go to, and we have that as a standard design setting. So if we go here, I know we do it on the classified ads theme, or no, we do it on, the member community theme here. Yeah, again, this is not the best aesthetic, but having the 2 buttons here, like the Kelly Blue Book, these are good contrast, yellow against blue. And that way you're kind of eliciting a click from them, and and that brings them into the site, because a form right off the bat might be too intimidating unless there was like a lot of intent to get to that form in the first place. But this way you can kind of funnel them along and build and click their confidence and things like click to their confidence almost.
Yeah, no, great.
And things like that. But I did want to share this one thing here. We did this here, this one here, maximize lead sales. This is where we talk about educating the visitor, educating the member, and then this is what I wanted to share. So this is a useful video, and it talks about how to earn the trust of your members so that they want to buy leads from you, since that's what seems the stage that you're at right now.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And, I'm so glad I asked. So thank you for taking the time. That's, as always, you over-deliver.
Sure thing. Join us in the next webinar. Let us know your progress on it.
All right.
Thank you, Wolf. All right, guys. I think we got Renee here. All right. There we go. Renee, how are you?
I'm fine. I think in a sense y'all kind of answered my question, but Pipeline Pro, they're kind of like ClickBase. I wanted to know if it would be a great addition to put with my directory.
Great question there. I'm going to show something else. So Pipeline Pro, I'm assuming it's for creating funnel pages or funneled offers that people opt into or subscribe to. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's basically just like, matter of fact, it's the same system that ClickFunnels uses.
Okay, so let me just see here. Let me search our blog real quick. I think we have, so yeah, lead pages, ClickFunnels. So I'll share this link here. What these videos explain is not to stop using ClickFunnels or lead pages. It actually encourages you to use, in your case, what did you call it?
Pipeline Pro.
Pipeline
Actually,
Pro.
the guy used to actually work for ClickFunnels, so.
That happens a lot. So what you should do is you can use them, and with tools like Zapier, what you do is because they're opting in for an offer, and usually it's a one-time thing, or they're subscribing to a newsletter. But what we can do is, and what these videos explain is, you can take their data, their name, their email, and you can create a free general user account for them in your directory. So now you're effectively adding them to your community. They're not just a one-off, data record inside of the admin area of those solutions. You're actually turning them into a general user. Welcome them to your community, and then here, once they're there, now they're part of your ecosystem, your brand's ecosystem, where not only you can make them feel warm and fuzzy, you can then come in with your higher ticket items and things like that.
So thank you. I'm so glad y'all said that.
Yeah, let me just find one thing. You said the name was, I'm sorry, I haven't heard it before. Pipeline Pro?
Pipeline Pro.
Pipeline Pro. Let's see if they have a Zapier. There we go. So Pipeline Pro, Zapier, and Brilliant Directories. Anyways, so what you can do with Pipeline Pro is, again, you can use a Zapier or a Pabbly. Again, there's free plans for these, but if it's like it's going to help your business grow, it's worth $20 a month for one of these. So if you come
I just got the whole system, so I have everything that they offer, but I wanted to make sure that I seen that I could utilize it great with y'all, because it seemed like wherever y'all left off, they have. That'll help push it. So when you said that, I was glad to hear.
Perfect. Yeah, you can definitely sync the two together. It's Pipeline and Brilliant Directories. Okay. Thank you, Renee, for the question. Good luck to you. Love to hear about the integrations there. And all right, we got one more from Michael here. Michael, why don't you send us home with the final question here?
Sounds fantastic. I just have a simple question for you.
Okay.
Because you were talking about this and with an earlier person, and they were talking about digital products. And you said, "Yeah, no, we don't have a shopping cart." And I thought, well, digital products, you want people to buy 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. Do you have any plans on creating a shopping cart type of scenario?
We don't yet have plans for a shopping cart, but we have plans for increasing the quantity of a specific purchase. So if you're buying one item, but you want to buy 2 of them, like in the example we were looking at with the booths, if someone wanted to buy 2 of the same thing or increase the quantity to 3, that we have approved. The only hesitation with the shopping cart at this point, which we're not totally against, it just kind of is not necessarily in the immediate wheelhouse of some of the plans we have for the rest of the year. But maybe towards the end of the year, our focus might shift and we might revisit more of a shopping cart functionality with the digital products.
And so would that include perhaps some thought of maybe an integration with an existing tool like WooCommerce?
Yeah, so a lot of tools like it could be WooCommerce, or it could be Shopify or Ecwid. There's a lot of e-commerce solutions out there that obviously they're built for shopping carts and things like that. What I'm noticing is 2 trends that people are doing right now is if they really are going the shopping cart route, which would mean they have a variety of products that they're offering and a variety of variations. For example, a t-shirt, large, extra large, and small colors, ways, and things like that. So what a lot of people are doing is they're just straight up using that third-party solution, and they're just making sure their logo and their brand colors match up, and they would use like a subdomain like shop.mywebsite.com. and they're just kind of doing it that way. The other thing is a lot of these tools like Shopify now offer embed options. So they're embedding their products into their Brilliant Directories website. So they're just creating a static web page, a regular web page, but they're embedding the products or the product libraries from these third-party tools such as Ecwid and Shopify. So effectively, they're still using the third-party dedicated e-commerce tool or solution, but they're embedding it and marrying it with their Brilliant Directories website. So rather than waiting for maybe for us to develop the shopping cart functionality, you can fast track that by using a more robust and dedicated solution for that in the meantime.
Or in the meantime, or that just makes sense.
Right, exactly.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Jason.
Thank you for the question as always. All right, guys, we will end it there. It's just over our time. It's been super awesome being with you. The built-in analytics tool, it's available for everyone as long as you have that developer hub access, which most of you should. You can check out some basic stats of your site. David, thank you for putting those slides together. More updates coming in the next webinar, which will be in 2 weeks. We will post the replay in the Facebook group. You can go to brilliantdirectories.com/Facebook. Just give us a few moments. We'll post the replay there. And for those of you who joined us in YouTube or on YouTube, thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe. Go to brilliantdirectories.com/YouTube and click on that subscribe button. On behalf of myself, David, and the entire Brilliant Directories family, obviously this has been tons of fun, guys. Thank you so much for participating, joining, and your questions. The next webinar will be in 2 weeks, and we certainly look forward to seeing you there. Have a great day and a brilliant week. Take care, guys.